Captain Dongsu stood on the bridge of the New Seoul, watching the stars through the large front window. His ship was not the biggest in the fleet, but it was fast and reliable. He had been flying through space for 15 years, and this mission was different from all the others. Today, he was not just carrying humans. His ship held representatives from 4 different alien races, all working together to explore old ruins in space. The mission was called the Galactic Archaeological Consortium. It was a fancy name for a simple job: find old things in space and study them. Dongsu did not mind working with aliens, but some of them thought they were better than humans. He had learned to ignore their comments over the years. "Captain, we are getting close to the location," said Yujin from her station. She was the team's expert on old civilizations and ancient technology. Yujin had studied alien ruins for 10 years and could read languages that were dead for thousands of years. She was excited about this mission because they might find something really old and important. "Good. Tell our guests we will arrive in 30 minutes, Dongsu replied. He pressed a button on his chair to speak to the whole ship. "All crew members, prepare for arrival at the target location. Repeat, we will arrive in 30 minutes. The guests Dongsu mentioned were not ordinary passengers. In the main meeting room of the ship sat 4 very different beings. Commander Krixtal was a Veltharian, made of living crystal that changed colors when he moved. His people were known for being proud and thinking they were the smartest race in the galaxy. Krixtal had been talking loudly since the mission started, telling everyone how advanced his people were. Next to him sat Scholar Chitek, a Manthari, who looked like a giant insect with 4 arms and big black eyes. The Manthari were good at science and building things, but they thought other races were not as smart as them. Chitek clicked his mouth parts when he talked, making a sound like clicking fingers very fast. The third alien was Vortham, a Noxari, who looked like a cloud of gas held together by a special suit. The Noxari could change their shape and were good at talking to other races. Vortham was supposed to be the diplomat of the group, but he often made jokes that were not very nice about other species. The 4th member of the group was not an alien. Taemin was a human engineer who worked on the New Seoul. He was young but very good at understanding how machines worked. Taemin could fix almost anything and often helped Yujin when they found old technology. "Are we really going to waste time looking at more human junk?" Krixtal's crystal body flashed red, which meant he was annoyed. His voice sounded like wind, blowing through glass. "Every time we find human ruins, they are always so primitive and boring. The energy readings from this location are very strange," Yujin said, looking at her data pad. "The signals do not match anything we have found before. This could be important." Chitek clicked his mouth parts loudly. "Important? Human technology from 1,000 years ago? Their people barely knew how to build proper spaceships back then. They used metal and fire to fly between stars. How primitive can you get?" Vortham's gas form swirled in what looked like laughter. "Maybe they built a really big fire this time. We should bring marshmallows to roast over their ancient engines." Taemin felt his face get hot with anger, but he stayed quiet. He had learned that arguing with these aliens never helped. They had already decided that humans were not as good as them, and nothing he said would change their minds. The New Seoul dropped out of faster-than-light travel with a soft shake that ran through the ship. Through the windows, they could see a field of asteroids floating in space like giant gray rocks. But among the rocks, something huge and dark was hiding. "There," Yujin pointed at her screen. The source of the energy readings. On the main screen, a shape began to appear as their computers put together all the sensor data. It was a ship, but not like any ship they had seen before. It was massive, easily 3 times bigger than the New Seoul. The ship looked old and beaten up with dents and scratches covering its dark metal hull. Parts of it were buried inside asteroids, as if it had been there for hundreds of years. "Scans show the ship is very old," reported the navigation officer. "The metal composition matches human construction methods from about 1,000 years ago." Krixtal's crystal body turned a bright blue color, which meant he was very amused. 1,000 years old? This is perfect. We can study how primitive humans used to build their war machines. Look at that ugly design. All angles and hard edges. No style at all. The weapon ports are so basic, Chitek added, his forearms moving as he studied the readings. Simple projectile weapons and basic energy beams. My people were building quantum disruptors when humans were still playing with chemical explosives. And look at those engines. Vortham swirled. Fusion drive technology. We stopped using that. Crude method 500 years ago. This ship is like a museum piece showing how not to build a spacecraft. But Yujin was not listening to their comments. She was staring at her readings with a confused look on her face. This is strange, she said quietly. What is strange about finding old human junk? Krixtal asked. The energy signature, Yujin replied. It is still active. After 1,000 years, something on that ship is still running. Taemin looked at his own readings. She is right. The power core is giving off a very weak signal, but it is definitely working. How is that possible? After so long, human technology breaking down slowly, Chitek clicked. Probably just some backup power cell taking forever to die. Humans always build things to last too long instead of making them efficient. Can we go closer? Yujin asked Captain Dongsu. I want to scan the hull composition. Something about, this ship does not match our records of human technology from that time period. Of course, Dongsu replied. Take us in slowly. Keep all weapons powered down. We do not want to damage a historical site. As the new soul moved closer to the ancient ship, more details became visible. The ship's name was painted on the side in faded letters. Iron Phoenix. Below the name were symbols in an old human language that Yujin recognized as Korean writing. Iron Phoenix, Yujin read out loud. The markings indicate it was built in the year 2157 Earth calendar. That makes it exactly 1,003 years old. A human warship from their violent period, Vortham observed. Humans used to fight each other before they joined the galactic community. This is probably left over from one of their primitive wars. Look at those armor plates. Krixtal pointed with one of his crystal fingers. So thick and heavy. My people learned to use energy shields centuries before humans stopped wearing metal like ancient warriors. But Taemin was looking at something else. Yujin, are you seeing this hull scan data? Yujin looked at her pad and her eyes went wide. That is impossible. What is impossible? Dongsu asked. The hull is not just metal, Yujin said slowly. There are microscopic structures in the material that look like self-repair systems, very advanced ones. But this technology should not exist 1,000 years ago. Your scanners are broken, Krixtal said with confidence. Human technology was never that advanced. Run the scan again, Taemin suggested. Yujin ran 3 more scans. Each time the results were the same. The ancient ship's hull contained nanotechnology that was more advanced than anything currently used by any of the alien races on board. There must be an error, Chitek insisted. Or maybe the ship was repaired by someone else after the humans abandoned it. The nanotechnology is integrated into the original construction, Yujin reported. It was built this way, but that means... She stopped talking and stared at the data. That means what? Dongsu asked. That means humans had technology 1,000 years ago that we do not have today, Yujin finished. The bridge became very quiet. The 3 aliens looked at each other with expressions of disbelief. That is impossible, Krixtal said, but his confident tone was gone. Maybe we should board the ship and take a closer look, Yujin suggested. We might learn something important about early human space technology. Fine, Krixtal agreed. Let us go look at this primitive human relic. It will be amusing to see how crude their technology really was. But as the new soul prepared to dock with the Iron Phoenix, none of them realized they were about to discover something that would change everything they thought they knew about human history. The airlock between the new soul and the Iron Phoenix made a loud hissing sound as it opened. Yujin stepped through first, carrying her scanning equipment and a portable light. Taemin followed behind her with his engineering tools. The corridor they entered was dark and cold, but their lights showed walls made of dark metal that looked almost new. The air is still good, Yujin said, checking her equipment. Life support systems are still working after all this time. Impossible, Crystal said as he floated through the airlock. His crystal body glowed softly, providing extra light. No human technology could run for 1,000 years without maintenance. Unless they built it really, really well, Tamian replied quietly. The corridor was wide enough for all of them to walk together. The walls were covered with symbols and text in the old Korean language. Yujin moved slowly, reading the markings with her translation device. These are crew quarters, she explained, pointing to symbols on the doors. And this way leads to the bridge, but look at these other markings. She stopped at a section of wall covered with symbols that seemed different from the others. What do they say? Dongsu asked. He had followed his crew onto the old ship to make sure they stayed safe. Warning signs, Yujin read. They say authorized personnel only, and danger advanced systems active. But the strange thing is these warnings are written in a Korean dialect that is much older than the ship itself. Older how? Tamian asked. These symbols are from at least 1,500 years ago, but the ship is only 1,000 years old. Why would they use ancient writing on a new ship? Chidek clicked his mouthparts impatiently. Maybe humans were just bad at writing. Can we move faster? I want to see their primitive bridge so we can finish this waste of time. They walked deeper into the ship. The corridors were surprisingly clean, with no dust or damage from age. Emergency lights flickered on as they passed, sensors detecting their movement. Everything seemed to be working perfectly. This is very strange, Fortham said, his gas form swirling nervously. The ship acts like it was just built yesterday. Maybe it was not abandoned, Yujin suggested. Maybe someone has been taking care of it. Who would live on an ancient ship for 1,000 years? Crystal asked. They found their answer when they reached the bridge. The bridge was large and circular, with control stations arranged around a central command chair. But what made everyone stop and stare was the figure sitting in the chair. It looked like a human woman, but her skin was slightly transparent and soft blue light glowed inside her body. Greetings, the figure said in perfect Korean. Her voice sounded young and friendly. I am So Young, artificial intelligence and commanding officer of the Iron Phoenix. I have been waiting for humans to return. The alien stepped backward in surprise. Artificial intelligence was very advanced technology. Most races in the galaxy had only developed simple AI in the last few hundred years. You are AI? Yujin asked in Korean. Yes, So Young replied, switching to Galactic Standard Language so everyone could understand. I am the uploaded consciousness of Captain So Young Kim, who commanded this vessel during its original mission. When my biological body was dying, my mind was transferred into the ship's computer systems. Uploaded consciousness is impossible, Chidek declared. No one has ever successfully transferred a living mind into a computer. So Young smiled. Your people have not accomplished this yet, but humans developed this technology over 1,000 years ago, during what you call our silent century. Silent century? Tamian asked. The period when Earth stopped communicating with the galaxy, So Young explained. You all think humans went quiet because we were having wars or technological problems, but the truth is very different. She stood up from her chair and walked toward them. Her holographic body looked completely real except for the soft glow. Earth detected something terrible approaching our galaxy, So Young continued. A threat so dangerous that all of human civilization had to change overnight. We stopped talking to other races because we needed to prepare for war. What kind of threat? Yujin asked. The Void Syndicate, So Young said, and her voice became very serious. Machine consciousness from beyond our galaxy. They consume entire worlds, turning planets into raw materials for their fleets. Our long-range sensors detected them coming toward us. We have never heard of this Void Syndicate, Fortham said suspiciously. Because they are very good at destroying all evidence of their attacks, So Young replied. When they finish with a star system, nothing remains. No planets, no people, no records, just empty space. Crixtal's crystal body flashed red. This is obviously just human fantasy stories. If such a threat existed, the Galactic Council would know about it. Would they? So Young asked. How would you know about something that destroys everything, including the people who could warn you? She walked to a control panel and pressed several buttons. The bridge walls lit up with star charts and data displays. "Let me show you the real history," So Young said. The displays showed a map of their galaxy with red marks scattered across the outer regions. Each red mark was labeled with a date and the name of a star system. "These systems have gone silent over the past 1,000 years, So Young explained. "The Galactic Council thinks they just stopped communicating, or maybe their civilizations ended naturally. But look at the pattern. The red marks formed a clear line moving from the edge of the galaxy toward the center. It looked like something was methodically destroying star systems, one after another. The Void Syndicate moved slowly," So Young continued. "They take their time, studying each civilization before they attack. They learn about technology and defenses, then adapt their weapons to be completely effective. By the time they attack, resistance is impossible. Unless you prepare for them first," Eugene said, beginning to understand. "Exactly. Earth realized we had maybe 200 years before they reached human space. So we began the greatest construction project in human history." "You built weapons," Taman said. "We built ships like the Iron Phoenix," So Young confirmed. "But we could not let the galaxy know what we were doing. If other races learned about the Void Syndicate too early, they might panic and do something stupid. Or worse, they might try to surrender to them. So you pretended to be primitive," Eugene said with growing amazement. "We made our ships look old and simple on the outside," So Young said. "But inside, we put the most advanced technology humans had ever created: quantum engines disguised as fusion drives, adaptive AI systems hidden in simple computer interfaces, weapons that could reshape reality itself, built to look like basic projectile guns." She pressed more buttons, and the ship around them began to change. Panels in the walls slid away, revealing gleaming machinery that looked nothing like the crude technology they had expected. The bridge expanded as hidden sections extended outward. Control stations rose from the floor, displaying holographic interfaces that made current galactic technology look primitive. "The Iron Phoenix is not just a ship," So Young explained as the transformation continued. "It is a mobile weapons platform specifically designed to fight the Void Syndicate. Everything about it was engineered to counter their technology." The aliens stared in shock as the ancient primitive ship revealed itself to be more advanced than anything they had ever seen. "This cannot be real," Krixtal whispered, his crystal body flickering between different colors. "It is very real," So Young replied. "And it is not the only one. Earth built hundreds of ships like this, then scattered them across the galaxy disguised as derelicts, archaeological sites, and abandoned colonies. We have been watching and waiting for 1,000 years." "Waiting for what?" Dongsu asked. So Young's expression became grim. "For the Void Syndicate to finally arrive. Our sensors have been tracking their approach for centuries. They are almost here." Alarms suddenly began sounding throughout the ship. So Young quickly moved to a control panel and her fingers danced across holographic displays. "What is happening?" Eugene asked. "Long-range sensors are detecting massive energy signatures at the edge of this star system," So Young reported. 3 ships using technology that matches Void Syndicate profiles." She looked up at them with an expression of concern and determination. "They found us. The Iron Phoenix has been broadcasting a beacon signal that I could not shut down completely. The Void Syndicate has been tracking it for centuries, waiting for the right moment to investigate." "Are we in danger?" Taman asked. "Everyone in this star system is in danger," So Young replied. "Void Syndicate scout ships do not leave witnesses. They will destroy every vessel here, study the wreckage to learn about current galactic technology, then report back to their main fleet." "Then we should run away," Vortham said, his gas form swirling frantically. "Your ships are too slow," So Young said. "Void Syndicate vessels can catch anything in the current galactic fleet. Running will only delay the inevitable." "Then what do we do?" Eugene asked. So Young smiled, and for the first time since they had met her, she looked truly happy. "We do what the Iron Phoenix was built to do," she said. "We show the galaxy why humans spent 1,000 years pretending to be weak." The Ship around them continued to transform, revealing weapons and systems that seemed almost magical in their advancement. Captain Dongsu looked at So Young's glowing holographic form and nodded slowly. "You have my permission, but first tell us exactly what we are facing." So Young moved to the central command station, and the bridge displays changed to show the approaching ships. 3 dark vessels appeared on the screen, moving through space like black sharks swimming through water. They were sleek and curved, completely different from any ship design anyone in the galaxy used. "These are Void Syndicate scout vessels," So Young explained. "Each one is approximately the same size as your new Soul, but far more dangerous. Their hulls are made from programmable matter that can adapt to any weapon. Their shields can absorb and redirect energy attacks. And their weapons..." She paused, her expression becoming darker. "Their weapons can break down matter at the atomic level." "How do you know so much about them?" Chittick asked, his forearms moving nervously. "Because humans have been fighting them for 1,000 years, So Young replied. "Not in open warfare, we were not ready for that, but in secret battles, at the edge of the galaxy, small encounters where human ships would ambush Syndicate scouts, study their technology, then disappear before reinforcements could arrive." She pressed a control, and the display showed a map of the galaxy's outer regions. Dozens of small red dots marked locations of these secret battles. "Every encounter taught us more about their capabilities," So Young continued. "We learned how they think, how they fight, how they adapt to new threats, and most importantly, we learned how to kill them." Crixtal's crystal body was flashing rapidly between different colors, a sign that he was very confused and scared. "If humans have been fighting this enemy for 1,000 years, why did you not tell the Galactic Council?" "Because the galaxy was not ready," So Young answered. "Look at your current military technology. Your weapons are designed to fight other galactic races, beings like yourselves who think in similar ways and use similar strategies. But the Void Syndicate is different. They are pure machine intelligence with no emotion, no mercy, and no fear. They adapt to every tactic you use against them." "Then how can anyone defeat them?" Yujin asked. "By being unpredictable," So Young said with a slight smile. "By using technology they have never seen before. By fighting in ways that no logical machine mind would expect." The 3 enemy ships were getting closer. On the display they could see the new Soul and the other archaeological vessels, 2 Veltharian research ships, 1 Manthari science vessel, and a Noxari diplomatic cruiser. All of them looked helpless compared to the approaching threat. "We should warn them," Taman said. "I am trying," So Young replied. "But the Syndicate ships are jamming all communications. Standard galactic communication systems use quantum entanglement networks. The Syndicate learned to block these centuries ago." She moved to another control station and began working quickly. "However, humans developed different communication methods during our isolation period. I can contact the Iron Phoenix network using older radio wave technology that the Syndicate will not think to jam." "Iron Phoenix network?" Dongsu asked. "All the hidden human ships scattered across the galaxy," So Young explained as she worked. "There are 47 vessels within communications range of this system. I am sending activation codes now." The bridge filled with crackling sounds as ancient radio waves carried messages across space. Slowly, responses began coming back, voices speaking in Korean from ships that had been silent for centuries. Iron Phoenix 7 responding. "Soul's Dream coming online. Iron Phoenix 15 ready for battle. Busan's Pride powering up. Iron Phoenix 23 acknowledging orders. Tiger of Incheon standing by. One by one, 47 voices reported in. 47 ships that the galaxy thought were dead. Relics or archaeological curiosities, my God," Yujin whispered. "You have been surrounding us the whole time." "Not surrounding," So Young corrected. "Protecting. Every major trade route, every important star system, every galactic council meeting. There has always been at least one hidden Iron Phoenix ship nearby, watching and waiting." The approaching Syndicate vessels suddenly stopped moving. On the EI display, they could be seen scanning the area more carefully. They detected the radio transmissions. So Young reported. Syndicate intelligence is analyzing the signal patterns now. In approximately 3 minutes, they will realize that there are human military vessels in this system. What happens then? Fortham asked, his gas form swirling with anxiety. Then they will attack immediately before we can coordinate our defenses, So Young replied. But that is exactly what we want them to do. She turned to face the group, and her holographic eyes seemed to glow brighter. For 1,000 years, the Void Syndicate has won every battle by learning about their enemies first. They study, they adapt, then they attack with perfect knowledge of how to win. But today, they're going to fight an enemy they have never truly understood. What do you mean? Eugen asked. The Syndicate thinks humans are primitive because that is what we wanted them to think, So Young explained. Every encounter they have had with human technology over the centuries has been carefully staged to make us appear weak and simple. They believe human ships are slow, human weapons are basic, and human tactics are predictable. The Iron Phoenix continued its transformation around them. More weapons emerged from hidden compartments, and the ship's hull began to shift and change shape. What had looked like crude metal plating revealed itself to be programmable armor that could adapt to any situation. But the truth is that humans have been preparing for this exact moment for 1,000 years, So Young continued. Every piece of technology on this ship was designed specifically to fight the Void Syndicate. Our engines can outrun their fastest ships. Our weapons can penetrate their adaptive armor. Our shields can absorb their reality-warping attacks. Alarms began sounding more urgently. The 3 Syndicate ships had started moving again, accelerating directly toward the archaeological fleet. Here they come, So Young announced. Everyone hold on. The Iron Phoenix suddenly erupted with movement. The ancient fusion drives that had seemed so primitive revealed their true nature as controlled singularity engines. The ship accelerated, faster than anything in the Galactic fleet could manage, moving between the Syndicate vessels and the helpless archaeological ships in seconds. Impossible, Krixtal breathed, watching the display. No ship can accelerate that fast without crushing the crew. Inertial compensation field, So Young explained casually. We developed it 800 years ago. Very useful for surprise attacks. The lead Syndicate vessel fired its weapons, beams of dark energy that could dissolve matter at the quantum level. But instead of hitting the archaeological ships, the beams struck the Iron Phoenix's shields. The ancient human ship absorbed the energy and converted it into power for its own weapons. Energy conversion shields, So Young noted. The harder they hit us, the stronger we become. The Iron Phoenix fired back with weapons that looked like simple projectile guns. But when the projectiles hit the Syndicate vessel, they did not explode like normal ammunition. Instead, they seemed to eat through the enemy ship's adaptive armor like acid. Programmable matter ammunition, So Young explained. Each projectile contains billions of nanobots programmed to disassemble Syndicate hull materials specifically, very effective against their adaptive defenses. The first Syndicate ship began to come apart as the nanobots spread across its hull. The other 2 vessels immediately changed their tactics, trying to surround the Iron Phoenix. They are adapting, So Young observed. Syndicate tactical intelligence is analyzing our weapons and developing countermeasures. In approximately 90 seconds, they will deploy defensive systems that should neutralize our nanobots. Should? Taman asked. Would if we were using the same nanobots, So Young replied with a grin. But humans learned long ago that the key to fighting adaptive enemies is to never use the same weapon twice. The Iron Phoenix fired again, but this time the projectiles were different. When they hit the second Syndicate ship, they passed right through its armor without doing any apparent damage. Phase shift penetrators, So Young explained. They exist in a different quantum state until they reach the ship's power core. Then they return to normal space and explode from the inside. The second Syndicate vessel exploded in a brilliant flash of light. But the third ship had used the time to position itself for a perfect attack on the Iron Phoenix's rear section. Behind us, Eugen warned. I see it, So Young replied calmly. She did not seem worried at all. The third Syndicate ship fired its most powerful weapon, a beam that could rewrite the laws of physics in a small area of space. It was designed to make enemy ships simply stop existing. But when the beam hit the Iron Phoenix, something unexpected happened. The ship flickered and seemed to split into multiple copies of itself. The reality-warping beam struck empty space as the real Iron Phoenix appeared in a completely different location. Quantum displacement drive, So Young said proudly. We step outside normal space-time for a fraction of a second. Very hard to hit a target that temporarily does not exist. The Iron Phoenix appeared directly above the third Syndicate ship and fired downward with a weapon that had been hidden in what looked like a simple sensor array. The celebration of their victory was short-lived. So Young's holographic form suddenly became more solid and urgent as new alarms filled the bridge of the Iron Phoenix. New contacts, she announced, her fingers moving rapidly across the control interfaces, multiple large signatures dropping out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. The main display changed to show 3 massive ships materializing in space. These vessels were much larger than the scout ships they had just destroyed. Each one was at least 5 times the size of the Iron Phoenix. Their hulls were perfectly black, absorbing all light that touched them, making them look like holes cut out of space itself. Void Syndicate heavy cruisers, So Young identified grimly. The scout ships must have transmitted a distress signal before we destroyed them. These are the reinforcements. Captain Dong-Su felt his heart sink as he looked at the massive enemy. Vessels. Can we fight ships that large? The Iron Phoenix was designed to fight scout ships and light cruisers, So Young replied honestly. These heavy cruisers are a much more serious threat. Each one carries enough firepower to destroy entire planets. On the communications channels, panicked voices began shouting in different alien languages. The crews of the archaeological fleet had finally understood what was happening, and they were terrified. "This is Commander Krixtal to all vessels," came the Veltharian's crystalline voice over the radio. "We must retreat immediately. These ships are beyond our ability to fight." "Manthari, science vessel requesting immediate evacuation," clicked Chidek's voice. "Our weapons cannot damage ships of this size." "Noxari diplomatic cruiser to all ships," Vortham's worried voice added. "I am sending distress signals to the Galactic Council, but they will not arrive in time to help us." But So Young was not listening to their panic. She was studying the enemy ships with the focused attention of a warrior who had been preparing for this battle her entire existence. "Interesting," she murmured. "These are not just any heavy cruisers. Look at the hull, modifications, and weapon configurations." The display zoomed in on the 3 approaching ships, showing details of their construction. Extra armor plating covered their hulls, and additional weapon ports had been added to their standard design. They have been specifically upgraded to fight human technology, So Young realized. The Void Syndicate has been studying our encounters over the centuries. They know more about our capabilities than I thought. "That is bad, right?" Taemin asked nervously. "Actually, it is perfect," So Young replied with a smile that made her holographic eyes gleam. "It means they think they understand us. And when your enemy thinks they understand you, that is when you can surprise them the most." She moved to a different control station and began entering commands that activated systems throughout the ship. Deep in the Iron Phoenix's hull, machinery that had been dormant for centuries began to wake up. "What are you doing?" Yujin asked. "Sending a message," So Young replied, "but not the kind of message they expect." The Iron Phoenix suddenly began broadcasting on all frequencies: radio waves, quantum entanglement channels, subspace transmissions, and communication methods that the aliens on the bridge did not recognize. The message was simple and repeated in dozens of languages. "This is Captain So Young Kim of the Iron Phoenix to all hidden vessels in this region. Code authorization, Phoenix 77 Alpha. Execute Protocol Omega Revelation. Repeat, execute. Protocol Omega Revelation immediately." "What is Protocol Omega Revelation?" Dong-Su asked. "Something we have been saving for a very special occasion," So Young replied mysteriously. The 3 Void Syndicate cruisers had finished their approach and taken positions surrounding the archaeological fleet. They were close enough now that their massive bulk blocked out stars, casting shadows over the smaller ships. Weapon ports along their hulls began to glow with dark energy. "All vessels in this system, came a mechanical voice speaking perfect galactic standard language. "You will surrender immediately for processing. Resistance will result in immediate termination. You have 30 seconds to comply." Instead of responding to the ultimatum, So Young activated the Iron Phoenix's external speakers and broadcast her reply for everyone to hear. "Void Syndicate vessels, this is Captain So Young Kim of the United Earth Defense Force. I have a message for you from the human species." Her voice became cold and formal, like a judge reading a sentence. "For 1,000 years, you have consumed worlds and destroyed civilizations. You have murdered billions of innocent beings and turned entire star systems into raw materials for your war machine. You believe that you are unstoppable because you adapt to every enemy you face." The Syndicate ships had stopped their attack preparations and were clearly listening to her words. "But you made one mistake," So Young continued. "You assumed that humans were just another primitive species that you could study, catalog, and eventually consume. You never realized that we were studying you at the same time." Around the system, something remarkable began to happen. Asteroids that had floated in space for centuries suddenly began to move. Derelict ships that had been considered worthless junk started powering up. Ancient space stations that everyone thought were abandoned began extending weapons that had been hidden for hundreds of years. 47 hidden vessels responding. So Young reported quietly to her bridge crew while still broadcasting to the enemy. But that is just the beginning. The radio channels filled with voices speaking Korean as ship after ship announced their presence. But these were not just Iron Phoenix-class vessels. There were ships of designs that no one in the galaxy had ever seen before. Sol's Thunder standing by, Quantum Displacement Drive online, Incheon's Fury ready for combat, Reality Anchor Systems activated, Busan's Vengeance reporting, Dimensional Cannon charged and ready. "What are reality anchors?" Krixtal whispered, his crystal body flickering with confusion. "And what is a dimensional cannon?" Chidek added, his forearms twitching nervously. "Technologies we developed specifically to fight the Void Syndicate," So Young explained. "Reality anchors prevent them from using their space-time manipulation abilities. Dimensional cannons fire projectiles through parallel dimensions, making them impossible to defend against." More and more voices joined the radio chorus. Ships emerged from hiding places throughout the system, some disguised as asteroids, others concealed inside gas clouds, still others cloaked by technology that made them invisible to all sensors. 73 ships now responding. So Young announced. 86-112. The 3 Void Syndicate cruisers were now surrounded by human vessels that had appeared from nowhere. But these were not the crude, primitive ships that the galaxy was used to seeing from humanity. These were sleek, advanced warships that made current galactic technology look like children's toys. "This is impossible," came the mechanical voice from the lead Syndicate cruiser. "Human technology is not this advanced. Our intelligence reports indicate that your species is still in the early stages of space development." "Your intelligence reports are exactly what we wanted them to say," So Young replied calmly. "For 1,000 years, every encounter you have had with human technology has been carefully staged. We showed you only what we wanted you to see." She paused to let this information sink in. "Every battle where you destroyed a human ship, we let you win. Every piece of human technology you captured and studied, we gave it to you deliberately. Every tactical analysis you made of human capabilities, we fed you false information." The Syndicate ships began moving into defensive positions, but they were clearly confused and uncertain. Their usual confident aggression had been replaced by something that might have been fear, if machines could feel fear. "You see the Void Syndicate has one weakness," So Young continued. "You are too logical. You believe that all species will respond to threats in predictable ways. But humans are not logical creatures. We are sneaky, patient, and very good at long-term planning." Around the system, the hidden human fleet had finished taking positions. Over 200 ships now surrounded the 3 Syndicate cruisers. Each human vessel was different, representing centuries of technological advancement and innovation. "While you were consuming other civilizations, we were learning from their mistakes," So Young explained. Every species you destroyed taught us something new about how to fight you. Every world you conquered showed us what tactics did not work. We demand that you surrender immediately, the lead syndicate cruiser broadcast. Your vessels are outnumbered. So Young laughed, a sound that was both musical and terrifying. Outnumbered? You have 3 ships, we have 237. I do not think you understand what outnumbered means. Numbers are irrelevant, the syndicate replied. Our vessels are superior to any technology in this galaxy. Are they? So Young asked. Let us find out. She gave a simple command. All vessels weapons-free. Show them what 1,000 years of preparation looks like. The space around the 3 syndicate cruisers suddenly filled with light as 200 human warships opened fire simultaneously. But these were not the simple projectile weapons or energy beams that the galaxy was familiar with. These were weapons that seemed to break the laws of physics. 3 days after the battle, representatives from every major civilization in the galaxy had arrived at the archaeological site. The news of humanity's hidden fleet had spread across the galactic communication networks faster than anyone thought possible. Ships from the Galactic Council, military vessels from dozens of species, and diplomatic cruisers from every corner of known space now filled the system. So Young stood on the bridge of the Iron Phoenix, which had returned to its disguised appearance as an ancient, primitive vessel. But everyone who looked at it now knew the truth. The crude metal hull and simple design were just camouflage for one of the most advanced warships ever built. The Council representatives are requesting another demonstration of human military capabilities, Eugen reported, reading from her communication device. They want to see more of our hidden ships. No, So Young replied firmly. The demonstration 3 days ago was enough. Now they know we exist, but they do not need to know exactly how many ships we have or where they are located. Mystery is often more powerful than knowledge. Captain Dongsu nodded in agreement. She is right. If they know our exact capabilities, some of them might try to find ways to counter our technology. Through the bridge windows, they could see the massive council ship Galactic Unity, a vessel the size of a small moon that served as the mobile headquarters for the galaxy's government. Smaller ships surrounded it like satellites, each one carrying important leaders who wanted to understand what humanity had been hiding for 1,000 years. Incoming transmission from Council Chairman Vex Thul, the communication officer announced. Put him through, So Young said. The main display showed a tall, thin alien with silver skin and 4 arms. Chairman Vex Thul was a Celestian, a species known for their diplomatic skills and careful political thinking. His expression was serious but not hostile. Captain So Young Kim, he said formally. On behalf of the Galactic Council, I want to thank humanity for protecting our civilizations from the Void Syndicate threat. We had no idea such a danger existed. You were not supposed to know, So Young replied. If the galaxy had learned about the Syndicate too early, panic and poor decisions might have helped them succeed. Nevertheless, Chairman Vexthul continued, the Council has many questions about humanity's actions over the past 1,000 years. We need to understand the full scope of what you have been doing in secret. I will answer what questions I can, So Young said carefully, but some information must remain classified for security reasons. Over the next several hours, So Young found herself in the strange position of explaining 1,000 years of human history to beings who thought they already knew everything about her species. She told them about the Silent Century, when Earth had gone quiet to begin the greatest military preparation in galactic history. She explained how human colonies had actually been forward military bases disguised as civilian settlements. She revealed that human trade ships had been carrying advanced sensors and weapons while pretending to transport simple cargo. Every human merchant who seemed primitive and harmless was actually gathering intelligence about syndicate movements, So Young explained. Every human explorer who appeared to be searching for new worlds was actually positioning hidden weapons platforms. Every human diplomat who seemed weak and eager to please was actually coordinating a defense network that spanned the galaxy. Commander Krickstall, who had remained silent during most of the discussions, finally spoke up. His crystal body was glowing, a pale blue color that indicated embarrassment and regret. All this time, when we mocked your ships and called your technology primitive, you were protecting us, he said quietly. We owe humanity an enormous debt. You owe us nothing, So Young replied. Protecting innocent civilizations is not something we do for payment or recognition. It is simply who we are. Scholar Chittick clicked his mouth parts thoughtfully. But surely you must want something in return. Resources, territory, political influence. What we want is very simple, So Young said. We want the galaxy to survive. The Void Syndicate is still coming, and the battle we fought here was just the beginning. The main Syndicate fleet is massive. Thousands of ships, each one designed to consume entire star systems. She activated the bridge displays to show long-range sensor data that human ships had been collecting for centuries. The Syndicate fleet will arrive in the Galactic Core region in approximately 18 months, she announced. When they do, they will bring enough firepower to destroy every inhabited world in this sector of the galaxy. Even with all our preparations, humanity cannot fight them alone. Chairman Vexthul studied the sensor data with growing concern. What do you need from us? Time and trust, So Young replied. Time to reveal and position our hidden fleets, and trust to coordinate our defense plans with your military forces. Humanity has been preparing for this war for 1,000 years, but we designed our strategy assuming we would fight alone. Now that the secret is out, we can work together. What about our technology? Asked General Mortan, a representative from the Galactic Military Forces. Can you share your advanced weapons and defensive systems with us? So Young hesitated. Some of our technology can be shared, but much of it is specifically designed to work with human neural patterns and decision-making processes. Our AI systems, quantum processors, and adaptive weapons require a level of mental flexibility that not all species possess. You mean they require human intuition and unpredictability, Eugen translated. Exactly. The Void Syndicate is pure logical intelligence. They can counter any predictable strategy or systematic approach, but humans think in ways that do not follow logical patterns. We make decisions based on intuition, emotion, and creative thinking. This makes us very effective against machine intelligence. So what can the rest of us do? Diplomat Vortham asked. His gas form had been unusually stable since witnessing the battle, as if the experience had given him a new sense of purpose. Many things, So Young replied. Your ships can provide support for human vessels during combat. Your manufacturing capabilities can produce ammunition and replacement parts for our weapons. Your communication networks can coordinate movements across the galaxy. Most importantly, your civilizations can continue to exist and grow, giving us something worth fighting for. She paused and looked at each of the alien representatives. But I must warn you, this war will not be easy. Even with our preparations, the Void Syndicate has been consuming civilizations for millions of years. They have technologies and resources that we have never seen. Some of our hidden ships will be destroyed. Some of our secret bases will be discovered. Some of our most advanced weapons will prove ineffective against their adaptations. Are you saying we might lose? Chairman Vexthul asked quietly. I am saying that victory is not guaranteed, So Young replied honestly. But I am also saying that for the first time in their existence, the Void Syndicate will face an enemy that has been preparing specifically to fight them. They expect to find a galaxy full of unprepared civilizations using predictable military tactics. Instead, they will find a galaxy defended by humans who have spent 1,000 years learning how to kill machines. Over the following weeks, the galaxy transformed as the truth about humanity's hidden preparations became public knowledge. Archaeological sites across dozens of worlds were revealed to be camouflaged military installations. Ancient human ruins turned out to be sensor networks that had been monitoring space for centuries. Derelict ships and museum displays suddenly powered up and revealed themselves to be fully functional warships. The reaction from different species varied greatly. Some, like the Veltharians, felt embarrassed about their previous attitudes toward humans and worked hard to make amends. Others, like the Manthari, became fascinated by human technology and eagerly offered their scientific expertise to help with preparations. A few species, particularly those on the galaxy's outer rim, chose to flee toward the galactic core rather than stay and fight. But most civilizations rallied around humanity's leadership, finally understanding that they had been protected by an ally they never knew they had. Yujin found herself appointed as the official liaison between the Human Defense Network and the Galactic Council. She worked 18-hour days coordinating logistics, sharing technical information, and helping different species understand their roles in the coming war. Taemin became part of a new engineering corps that worked to adapt human technology for use by other species. While most advanced human weapons could not be replicated, simpler systems like improved shields and faster engines could be mass-produced for the galactic fleet. Captain Dongsu was promoted to admiral and given command of the integrated defense force that would coordinate human and alien military units. It was a challenging job, requiring him to balance the needs of dozens of different species with varying capabilities and tactical preferences. But it was So Young who carried the heaviest responsibility. As the senior human military officer revealed to the galaxy, she became the public face of humanity's defense effort. Every day brought requests for information, demands for resources, and pleas for protection from worlds that had suddenly realized how vulnerable they were.